It's a fantastic championship race, isn't it, for promotion? You can only look after your own team, of course, but how are you feeling? How are the emotions after a dramatic weekend?
Yes, after a win, you're always in a good mood, especially once you are there with a late winner and also, yes, some emotional scenes, obviously in an excited Elland Road. And was also good to have right now 2 days to calm the load a bit down, to recover a bit, and obviously we're all confident and in a good mood.
Is it taking it out of the players? A lot of them seem to be fatigued, which is understandable at this stage of the season. You're battling your way through injuries as well. What's the latest update in terms of injury issues?
Yes, we spoke about the situation. First weekend after the international break is always tricky because lots of load for the players, lots of traveling. Also, for many of them, important games. We played more or less, or several of them played more or less 3 games within 6 days, with more or less no training session together with the team, and then to go into the games is always tricky, especially once you are also struggling, like you mentioned, with some injuries. So for that, it was and is still beneficial right now to have at least 5 days before the next game, before the Coventry game. Yes, we're still struggling with a few injury problems. All the players who were on the pitch and in the squad for the last game are also available for Coventry, at least as it stands, with one exception. Jamie Shackleton reported the day after the game then some problems with his with adductors. We have assessed him, and it's adductor strain, so he will be out for about 2 weeks at least. So he will definitely miss this Coventry game. Yes, we have a few players who are on the road to come back. Ilya Gruev probably the closest, because he's just limited by some pain and some swelling. He has not trained with the team yet, but we still have 48 hours before we go into the next game. We will assess him in the next days, and perhaps there's a little chance that he's available for the game. We have to wait a bit. And with Willy Gnonto and Connor Roberts, we were quite clear. We've scanned them. There are muscle strains. And the doctors have said they will be out for 3 weeks. Meanwhile, they are out already since 9 or 10 days. So they're edging closer. I hope that they are even a bit earlier available than just for the Middlesbrough game. So both have not trained with the team yet, but perhaps they will come. They will be able to return back for the next games, at least for a short term appearance. So we will see. But no one has trained with the team so far.
Right. Winning obviously keeps spirits high, particularly for the likes of Dan James. You must have been delighted for him after Monday night.
Yes, of course, and this also in the football career, the momentum can change pretty quickly. But just if you work on it, and just if you show character and overtake responsibility, like he did also for his country, and overtook a pretty important penalty situation. Yes, and it's sport. Sometimes you can also fail, and you're on the losing end, but then you just have to keep going. It's just sport, and if you then hide, no chance anyhow to succeed. And for that, I'm pretty happy that he showed a really good reaction, really good performance, important performance. And then obviously also important goal for us. Yeah. We are all glad that we have him, and he plays such a fantastic season. 6
games to play, as we say, it's very, very exciting. How much of a part can these fans play between now and the end of the season for you?
Yes, they are the biggest value and the biggest asset of the club. So the supporters are second to none. Yeah, sometimes also expectations and a bit pressure comes along with them, but once you sign a contract for Leeds United, you have to know what you have to do, and I love it. So I love that you have to show responsibility to represent the supporters, to represent the shirt, and they're second to none. So once this club is united, and we are united, so just the name says it already, but it's really the feeling around the place at the moment. It's the biggest strength of this club, and they have to carry us also through difficult periods, and then difficult situations, like also the last weekend, many injuries, also difficult due to the load, and they also played their part in order to help us to win this game. They are quite important for us, yes.
And just finally from me, Coventry, of course, on Saturday, they've still got an awful lot to play for on the fringe of the playoffs, and maybe an FA Cup semi-final on their mind. What have you made of Mark Robbins' side this season, and where they are at the moment?
I'm full of respect of Mark's job and what he's done, not just in this season but also in the seasons before. It's remarkable what he was doing in the playoff finals last season. Then many important players left, and he had to rebuild again, and they were improving more or less from day one in their performances. Also, results. I'm a bit unhappy that their last result was not that great because they are right now a bit more under pressure to win the points against us. But what he's done over the course of the season, and also how his team plays, and not just in the league, but as he mentioned, also in the cup competitions, and the way he leads his team is outstanding. So I think Mark should receive much more credit and would deserve to be even more in the spotlight. I think he's one of the outstanding coaches on this level, and for that we travel with respect. We know it's definitely one of the best sides in this league, who still have good chances to finish in the top 6 and will be highly motivated to do this. So it's definitely not an easy task, but we also know that we are in a good shape, and we also travel with confidence and want to show good performance, and then also to achieve a good result.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Danny, can I ask you about two midfielders, Ilya Gruev and Charlie Krug? When you don't have Ilya in the side, and we've seen a few changes in midfield, what do you miss, and what can Charlie Krug bring if you do select him?
Yes, first of all, if Ilya is not available, really good midfield options. We are a bit thin at the moment, especially because Islam Badur has also played many games in the central defensive role. Ilya is important for our rhythm, for the rhythm of our game, sometimes to calm the game down, sometimes to speed the game up. He's very, very precise in his passing, great passing accuracy, tidy on the ball. He shows himself also and wants to have the ball under pressure also in difficult situations, and helps us to build the game even against really good pressing sides. And he's more or less like the guy who initiates our attacks, and also finds always a good balance between forcing it through the center, over the wings, or sometimes also then to choose, no, we have to play from side to side. So he's quite important for our rhythm. Obviously, Charlie Krug plays in a similar role, perhaps even a bit more offensive orientated. But just due to his age, he can't fulfill this role what Ilya has done. So in the age of 17 years, and just with a few training sessions with the first team, you can't dictate the rhythm of a side who wants perhaps to promote back to the Premier League. So, but he's definitely a really good player, full of potential, and it's no gift that he is right now back, or that he's right now also in team training with us, and can present himself, and we try to improve him, and was also not a gift that he was involved in the last game day squads, and we see him as a high potential young player, but there's still a long way to go. You can't take it as granted that always a 17-year-old like Archie plays day in, day out. Normally it never works like this, or you are more like a talent of the century anyhow, and we spoke about what Archie offers, so it would be unfair to put the same weights of expectations on Charlie Krug's shoulders, but he's an exciting young player with lots of potential, and as you know, we like to work with young players and want to develop them, and I think he has good surrounding also to grow, and then we will see what he can achieve.
And Daniel, we talked about looking at the table, which you admitted that you can do now, 6 games to go. What's the benefit of doing that now for you? And what are the changes you make in this final stage of the season?
I think if you try to go away from what you've done and what you have tried to bring into the heads and the hearts of the players during the whole season, if you just try to change it because you think, okay, as a manager you have to do something special right now, you will fail. You have to show consistency. This is quite important, and also calmness. If the lads got the feeling, oh, right now the manager gets nervous, or he wants to be in the spotlight, or wants to play a game of chess and do something unexpected, I think it's never beneficial. So it's important that you stick to your believings. It's important that you're not like a flag in the wind, but that you also hold the standards and high and also ask them to do the same what they've done more or less during the whole season. I don't think we will change a lot. And obviously it's important that you are there when there's a crunch time period of the season, but it's also important to play further on also with a smile on your face. So fire in the heart but cool in the head. If you're over motivated and you're too nervous, you will never achieve anything. You need to find a good balance out of motivation, and obviously in such a period the lads are naturally motivated, but also to make sure that they are not over the line and do something what they don't should do. So to find the right balance is always the key, and we're trying to do this.
What techniques do you use to do that then, to calm the nerves? Because I'm sure it'd be different if you're dealing with a Patrick Bamford who's at one end of the career and say Archie Graves at the other.
Yes, for me, coffee and cake on the day off, that always helps me to keep to stay balanced. And then also to be the same on the training ground and on the games, also to speak sometimes with your experience about similar situations to calm the nerves down when everyone around goes crazy. To speak about this is especially with young lads quite important, but also not just. It's more important is how you act, and this is quite crucial. That you still stay the same, that you are not over motivated. You do also then the preparation, the same things, but also not less. So it's important to be like I mentioned, not like a flag in the wind. To be the same. To ask them also for the same level and standards, and that's what we're doing. So they have to deliver each and every day in training in order to earn their spot in the starting lineup, but then to deliver performances in the games. And we don't change our levels of expectations. So it's not like, okay, the last 6 games we just have to make sure that we train less to have them all available. No, I'm a big believer in you play how you train, and for that I want to see good levels in training and to concentrate on the contents, and that's the most important topic.
Coventry, as you said, have got a lot to play for. And you look at their home form, Daniel, it's 8 wins, but also 8 draws, difficult to beat. But they really need to win as well. So can you envisage it being a bit of an open game at the weekend because of what's at stake for both?
No, if you want to be successful against a really good side, so we are a really good side in Coventry as well, you also need to show compactness against the ball, like I mentioned. So if you lose the nerves and open up everything and you think you have to overrun the opponent in the first 5 minutes, it never works. Yeah, you have to stay concentrated and focus, and to defend your own goal in a proper way is always a basement. And again, so for both teams, it's also not like a do or die game, like in a cup competition. Yeah, you have to win. Yeah, sometimes a point can also be valuable and pivotal and bring you then into an important position then for the next games. And for that, we head into this game respectful. We are concentrated on the contents, and I expect also a tight game, a competitive game where both teams and also we have to make sure that we are compact against the ball, that we don't open spaces that we shouldn't open, and then obviously also to show our quality in the opponent's half in the final third. And it's always difficult to predict. Sometimes there is a game with many goals when everyone expects a stalemate or the other way around. So for that, I'm struggling a bit to give you my predictions for this game, but I think both teams will also try to stay compact against the ball.
Then not speaking of predictions, I mean, when you look at the points tallies, as we've talked about a lot this season already, I mean, they're absolutely incredible. I mean, at the moment, you're on course for 99 at the current points per game ratio. The other two, Leicester and Ipswich, are on for 100. Do you expect it to sort of play out that way in terms of the standard to stay as it is, or do you think there'll be like, twists and turns whereby, the usual 2 points a game might ultimately be enough?
No, because it doesn't work in football like you just do the math on what point average are we right now, and we can write it further on, and then we end up with this points in the end. It never works like this. So especially the last games of the season are always a bit unpredictable, and we know. So the top sides at the moment are doing an incredible job. So outstanding season for the top 4 so far. Normally, when you reach 90 points line, you are sure that you win the league. There's no doubt about this. Or when you're there with over 90 or with 90 points, there was automatic promotion. There's no doubt about this. probably 90 points will during this season not be enough to win the league, and I'm also not sure if you just finish with 90 points. You are there in the automatic spots, but who knows? So in the last game days, it's always difficult to predict, because even if you play then against sides who are fighting, for example, against relegation, they also try to fight with a knife between the teeth and try to fight for surviving. So that we are on a really good point tally is never the guarantee that we'll also have the same point average in the next upcoming game. So you have to take game by game and just to concentrate on delivering good performances. This is the most important topic, because this is always a basement to give yourself a chance to win some points, and then try to dig in and grind out the best possible result. And this is what we're trying to do. Yes, and we let the table take care for itself, and then we see where we end.
And just lastly, Matteo Joseph, how much of a decision is he given you to make with the impact he's making? How close is it between him and Patrick Bamford for the number 9 role, given the impact that he's making when he comes on at the moment, Matteo?
I like when everyone is buzzing about our players, and Matteo 100% also deserves lots of praise, because he has developed during the season, especially also in the last weeks, and had a big impact. But it's also important that we're not too driven by our emotions, and put right now the weights of promotion rates right now on the shoulders of a more or less a teenager, 20-year-old guy, or on Archie's shoulders or whatever. Matteo has got, what has he got? 1 goal during the season so far in the league. So it's more not like, come on, without him we have no chance in order to win football games. So he's done really well in the cup competitions. He showed good performances. When I think about his performances at Plymouth, Chelsea, he scored the brace at Chelsea in the cup. Great. He had an important impact when he came from the bench, and this is also what we need, or that we know, okay, we can even find another gear in bringing quality player also from the bench, and can affect the game. This is quite important. This is what he has offered so far. And it's good to have this player with this momentum, because whenever he comes on at the moment, it's also he comes in with emotions, with confidence, and everyone knows, okay, come on, he can have an effect, and this is good for the whole team. But it's also so important to have experienced players on the pitch, like Patrick, who has put a shift in and prepared also that the centre backs are perhaps even a bit more tired, and he opens spaces for Matteo, and he can then score a goal like he did in the second class game. So to have the experience and also the quality of Patrick, for example, available is crucial, because we play with 21-year-old Georgie Rutter, with 22-year-old Chris Summerville up front, and just with young players who are over emotional. It's difficult in the crunch time period. So we need also experienced players, and for that, to have Patrick Bamford available and fit and also in a good shape, yes, it's priceless for us. Thank you.
Hey Daniel, throughout the season you've made it clear you don't want the players to burn the candle at both ends, because you knew that at this point in the year it was important that everybody had the energy to go again if they needed to. Do you feel you've succeeded in that challenge this season?
Depends on what happens in the next 6 games. So if you lose the next 6 games, probably you will say the candle was out pretty quickly. So we have to make sure that we also keep going in the next games. So we know that we have a good momentum at the moment, and we are more or less rising in terms of our points, also in comparison to many other teams in the recent weeks and months, and that's definitely good. But it's also important that you finish really pretty strong in your performances, but also in how many points you get. And once we're doing this, then we can be happy with ourselves. Not right now. So at the moment we have to keep going.
You diffused the penalty situation quite quickly on Monday night. Knowing how well you know Joel and how important psychology is to you, did you need to put an arm around his shoulder in any way and to talk to him about that situation?
No, not at all. And because it was really like the situation Cree was mentioned was the taker on the sheet, and nothing has changed during the game. And for that was naturally that he steps up and wants to take the penalty. If he doesn't do this and he's the number 1 taker on the sheet, everyone would ask him, "Come on, you're meant to take this penalty. Why you don't overtake the responsibility?" I like that Cree was there. Which Joel normally knows whenever I bring him in, he's then more or less the first choice to take it. But then I normally give him also the information. Okay, if there is a penalty, you will take it. Once I substitute him in, I didn't give him the information, because if I'm really honest, it was more or less the 82nd minute, and I didn't think about the penalty right now. And otherwise, I would have said, listen, if there is a penalty in the last second of the game, you overtake it, but not before, because, as I mentioned, I don't like players who are just in the game and just had 1 or 2 touches to take a penalty, because I don't believe in this. So I believe in players who I adapted a bit to the rhythm of the game and are a bit more in the game, instead of without having a touch than to overtake a penalty. It's more like a sign of his confidence and his character, that although he was just there with 1 or 2 touches before, that he wanted to overtake the responsibility. And I like this a lot. And for that, didn't need to even, we spoke about the situation. I explained, okay, I forgot to give you this message. You should stay away. If there is something in the next 2 minutes, just overtake it, perhaps after 15 or 20 minutes when there's lots of added time. But to be honest, in the 82nd minute, when I substituted him, I didn't think about the situation. And I think his behavior was top class, because Kree scored the goal. He was one of the first guys who went over to celebrate with him. He stayed focused on the game, was there with a precise and tidy assist for Daniel James' goal. So I was so pleased with Joel's reaction right now, and also he's more or less like a striker, offensive player who wants to score goals, but also in this moment he was not just thinking about his goal tally, he was thinking about the team, and it just says a lot about his character, and also the character of my team, how we handled this situation. No, we didn't need to speak too much about this. No.
Stuart's going to do his 2 questions, one going by, but you're all right.